May the 4th be with you. There we go. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Central Alabama, which includes our congregation here in Birmingham and our congregation in Tuscaloosa and our folks online. Hello. I'm Reverend Ruth Van Lillian. I'm honored to serve these two wonderful congregations while Reverend Julie is on sabbatical. For those in the room, please take a look at your contact card and fill it out on both sides. You can place it in the offering basket later or give it to an usher at the conclusion of the service. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. The prelude prepares us for the service.
We stand on the edge of summer, the last burst of spring blossoms, lavender and white and deep pink bands of rhododendron are giving way to summer peonies and roses. O source of the turning seasons, of life, of earth, of promise gradually becoming fulfillment, may your people find a lightening of their burdens with the brightening of the sky. And now, in the spirit of inclusivity and welcome, please rise if you are able and greet those around you. And folks online, please introduce yourself in our chat.
If you participated in the Plant a Native Plant Challenge in April, please make sure to see me so I can get you on our list for our drawing.
Please rise and body your spirit to join in our opening hymn, number 63 in your hardcover hymnal, number 63. Spring has now unwrapped its flowers, day is fast reviving, life in all her glowing powers toward the light is striving. Gone the iron touch of cold, winter time and frost time, last time. Herb and plant had winter long slumbered at their leisure, now be stirring green and strong, find in growth their pleasure. All the world with beauty fills, go the green enhancing, flowers make glee among the hills, set the meadows dancing.
For the Environmental Justice Task Force Justice Minute, once again, we had issued a challenge in April asking folks to plant something, preferably a native plant. So some of you were able to give me your names this morning. And once again, we have a little drawing. So first I'm gonna draw for a kid's name. And it's Grissom. And it's a My First Atlas book. It's got a map of the world in it for you, buddy, with lots of cool animals on it. And then for the adults, it is Anita. And there is a dozen eggs in the fridge for you. And as hopefully you all noticed when you came in, we have a wonderful setup for you can write a postcard to Senator Katie Britt asking her to continue to support energy tax credits. So please make sure you take advantage of that today. We're really lucky to have that going on. And we don't really have a challenge for the month of May, but if you plan to do your spring cleaning, please remember to do as much upcycling, recycling, and reusing as possible. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Julie Nicholson Morgan, President of the Board, and before I get to the offertory reading, I have an update from last week on stewardship. We had a little over 40 people complete their pledge forms last week, so thank you. Thank you to everyone who did that. Then a bit of, I guess, good news, bad news, not terrible news, but the stewardship team was looking at the total proposed budget and not just the anticipated pledge total. So instead of being well over $100,000 short of meeting the proposed budget, we're only, but still a little around $65,000 short. If we keep the same budget as last year, we'd be short $35,000, so we're almost there. The Finance Committee is meeting sometime this week to crunch the numbers, so we need those pledges to come in. They're gonna make suggestions to the board, and then the board meets in less than 2 weeks to get the budget finalized so we can get that to everyone 2 weeks before the congregational meeting, which is scheduled for June 1st. So please, 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 please get those pledges in if you haven't done already. Together we can do it. All right, so now our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time here, please pass the plate. We are just glad that you're here. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. Today we are sharing our plate with the Magic City Acceptance Center. Woo, yes. We appreciate your donations and accept the forms of payment found in your order of service. Thank you for your generous support of our church and our Share the Plate recipient. May we give in love and in hope. I want to say thank you to the choir and Elizabeth and you, Wen. What beautiful music. Many of you know I sang with this choir for years. And I just love y'all. So we've made a few changes to the order of service. Don't be anxious. It'll be fine. We're going to combine our special rituals today. Every week, we have a time in our service when, to symbolize the things that we carry on our hearts, people come forward and they drop a stone in the water. And every year, we have a ritual whereby people bring flowers, and then we share those flowers. So everyone brings home a flower different from the one they brought as a symbol of our shared community. So we're going to do those rituals together this morning. Those of you who are attending online, you may wish to exchange flower emojis and messages among yourselves about your joys and your concerns. Today we lift up members of our community, Larry Myers, Gilda Camos, and Katrina Mertz, who are dealing with special challenges. May we keep one another in our hearts and minds in the spirit of community and love. And now I'm going to invite Courtney McKinney to come forward and remind us a little bit about flower communion, where that comes from and what it means.
But today, kiddos, stay in the seats. Don't come rushing forward. No one's rushing, it's fine. Well, good morning, friends. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we started doing this flower ceremony thing. So in the city of Prague, in the land of Czechoslovakia, in the year 1923, so over 100 years ago, there was a church. But the building didn't really look much like a church. There was no bells, there was no steeple, there was no stained glass. It had no organ to make music or a fancy piano like we have. It had no carvings or stones or statues or anything. It was a very plain and simple building. But it also had no flowers. The church did have some things, though. It had 4 walls and a ceiling and a floor, because, you know, buildings. Except the church also had people who came every Sunday, kind of like we do here. It had a minister, and his name was Norbert Čapek. He had been the minister of that plain and simple church for 2 years, not very long. And every Sunday, Mr. Čapek went to church, and he spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quietly, still with those hard wooden chairs. Thankfully, we don't have hard wooden chairs. And when he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit amongst themselves, and then they all went home. They didn't even have coffee. Right? Or donuts, or any sweet treats. So in the springtime, the city of Prague, Norbert, Mr. Čapek, went out for a stroll, and the rains had come. And so all the flowers were blooming, and it was beautiful. The birds were singing, everything was lovely. And an idea came to him. A simple, clear, plain as day kind of idea. The next Sunday, he asked everyone in the church to bring a flower or a budding branch or even a twig, that each person would bring one. What kind, they asked, what color, what size, because we get a little anxious sometimes. You choose, he said, each of you choose the one that you like. So the next Sunday, which was the first day of summer, the people came with all different flowers of all different sizes, of all different colors, kind of like our table here, and filled the vases. So the church wasn't so plain and simple anymore. And the minister spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quietly, still in those hard wooden chairs. These flowers are like ourselves. They're all different colors, different sizes, different shapes, but each needing a different kind of care. But each one of them is beautiful. Each is important, and each is special, just like us. And when he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they each chose a different flower from the vase than the one that they brought in before, and they took it home with them. And that was all. It was beautiful, plain and simple as the day.
Thank you, Courtney. So everyone is invited to come forward to put a stone in the water to symbolize anything that you are carrying on your heart today, a concern, a joy, a question. And then to step over and select a flower different from the ones that you brought. And if you just got here and have flowers, you can put them on the table to share with those who come behind you. So that's fine. And as you circle back around, try not to run into each other. And families, as you and your children complete the rituals, if you will take your children back to the big doors, Courtney and the RE staff will be there to meet the children and take them down for their activities. So, you and will play, and let's begin on this side, please. Is there anyone in the room who was not able to walk all the way up here who would like a flower? I'll send them back to you. Anybody? Yeah, y'all took care of each other. That's great. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, followed by a moment of silence. Our lives are filled with stones and flowers. Stones can be shiny, smooth, beautiful to the eye and the hand. And stones can be rough, scratchy, stuck in our shoes, making us stumble. Flowers are lovely, colorful, fragrant, delighting the senses, bringing beauty to our lives. Flowers can also make us cough and sneeze, cloud our eyes, and catch uncomfortably in our throats. Stones and flowers, sorrows and joys, laughter and tears. This is life. These are our lives. This is our community. Amen, and blessed be. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. A few years ago, shortly after graduation, I asked my eldest how it felt to be done with high school. Well, I don't really feel grown up. I don't even know how to make coffee. I smiled. That's okay, baby, you don't drink coffee. Think back, way back, to when you were a child, less than 10 years old. What did you want to be when you grew up? I loved rocks. I tore up all my pockets, bringing home rocks from the school playground. And by age 7, I discovered the word. I wanted to be a geologist. Now raise your hand if any of these was your answer to the question. Firefighter, doctor, singer, archaeologist, artist, dancer, teacher, scientist, gardener, athlete, veterinarian, pilot. Okay, I know I missed a lot of them, but clearly we were an ambitious bunch. It's far less common than it used to be to choose or end up in the same job for one's entire working life, 40 or more years. Many start in one occupation and move around to try other things, or lose their job and find themselves in an unexpected work environment. Others return to school midlife, start over again with an entirely different career. We are all in various stages of growing up, both in regard to work and career and in other ways. Relationships, leaving home, marriage, parenting, losing parents, divorce, career change, retirement. Some of you have already been what you were going to be when you grew up, right? You got the education and training, you did the work, paid your dues, made your way along, and now you're done. Now you're retired. Do you feel all grown up? Have you got it all figured out yet? Oh, there we go. I knew a lovely man out in Colorado who had been a professor of music and a church organist for 40 years when he retired at age 65. Then he learned about handbells, and he led bell choirs and wrote handbell music for another 20 years. He could not stop pursuing his personal call of what do you want to be? His retirement became a space for new growth and discoveries. At 85, he was still working on the question of what he wanted to be when he grew up. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit of love. I felt a call to parish ministry when I was 16. And at age 25, I was preaching my first sermon to my first United Methodist congregation in 1992. I had my degrees, my credentials, and I was ready to rock and roll for Jesus. I had no real aspirations beyond this. I honestly expected to serve congregations for 40 years and then retire. My congregants and I did not know what to make of each other. I must have seemed like a Martian to them. This Birmingham city girl tried to fit into their small, rural Alabama town. I shopped at the humble grocery store. I chatted with the postmistress in her little office next door. I learned to quilt with the women in the back room of the beauty parlor, and I heard all the latest gossip. One parishioner took me on a tour of his cotton gin plant. Another gave me little bantam eggs to take home after my visits. It takes a lot of little bantam eggs to make an omelet. I shelled red and green Christmas butter beans on the front porch with one lady, and I yelled myself hoarse visiting another who always forgot to put in her hearing aids. I supported the little old police chief when 90-year-old Miss Thelma pointed her pistol at him, and yes, it was loaded. I taught the teen class every Sunday morning, and I led the old-time gospel singing every Sunday night. I held hands and prayed in hospital waiting rooms, and I stood with families at the sacred space of the deathbed. I blessed babies, I married couples, attended board meetings, and counseled folk in crisis. This was what I wanted to be when I grew up. And like most things, it was a mixed experience, sometimes satisfying and sometimes frustrating. Sometimes it is what I expect, and other times, oh, it's such a surprise. And that's life, isn't it? I mean, here are those stones and flowers. In Isak Dinson's account of her years living in colonial Kenya, she described an argument with her lover, Dennis Finch-Hatton, in which he declared, "I don't want to discover one day that I am at the end of someone else's life." Ever worried that you might be living someone else's idea of what your life should be like? It took a while for me to realize that what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be were not the same thing. What I had become in my vocation and who I was growing into came along together, but at first it was easy to allow the what to overshadow the who. There was a danger I did not see early on of living someone else's life or living a life that others prescribed for me. Now, it may seem obvious to say that what we do for a living is not who we are. Some of us are extraordinarily lucky to be following a call that gives us a personal sense of satisfaction and purpose. Many do not have that luxury. A dear friend of many years is fond of saying, work is a four-letter word. In his 70s now, I don't think he ever held a job he really found satisfying, but he has grown into a beautiful human being. The discovery of the who overcame the pressure of the what for him long ago. I hear young people lamenting that being an adult is harder than they thought it would be. It is difficult to find a good job, a good partner, a good place to live. It's hard to be responsible and clean up our own messes. It's hard to figure out what really matters and what we can ignore or let go of. It was a surprise to me to discover in my 20s that many people older than I didn't have a clue. Being grown up doesn't mean having all the answers, getting it all together, understanding all the mysteries. As we accumulate knowledge and experience, we also have to learn to adapt. Seems like the minute we learn to navigate the systems of life, the systems change, and we must learn again. About the time we learned how to program our VCRs, they became obsolete. And I imagine some of you youngsters don't even know what I'm talking about. Having an idea of who and what you want to be will likely shift as you grow and change. I offer the following precepts to young people when pondering the question of what do I want to be. Choose work that is honorable. Be productive and useful to the community. Choose work that provides adequate compensation to support you and your family. Pursue work that gives you some personal satisfaction. Now, these precepts also hold true when considering the question, who do you want to be? Strive to be a person of honor and integrity. Pursue thoughts and deeds that are productive and useful in some way. Seek the emotional resources necessary to support yourself and your family. Your inner development should give you some personal satisfaction. Certainly, we may retire from our jobs and careers, and most probably should at some point. But we do not retire from life. Each of us still has much to offer, and each still has becoming to do. At age 58, I can say with great confidence, time and gravity are not our friends. But I can't let age and the increasing physical challenges that are coming with it to be an excuse to give up learning and growing. I knew an amazing woman named Frankie. She was a very competent company administrator for years. And in her 50s, she contracted a rare illness and went stone blind in the space of a few weeks. Can you imagine how terrifying that must have been for her? How tempting it might have been for her to give up on any more growing and becoming. But Frankie couldn't stand the thought of just sitting at home doing nothing. She enrolled in the county trade school along with high school dropouts and former prison inmates, all seeking training to start their lives over. In a joint program with the Alabama School for the Deaf and Blind, Frankie took a class in how to manage vending machines. She learned how to order stock, sort products, open and load the machines, check them for servicing needs. Her husband provided the transportation and assisted her, but she did much of the work herself. She found it to be honorable, productive, sufficiently lucrative, and personally satisfying. Where did Frankie get such determination? What made her think a 50-something blind woman could start over like that, become someone new? Well, you might get an idea if you had ever watched her 89-year-old mother, Miss Frances, mowing her own 2 acres of grass all by herself. We are all still growing up. Are you what you want to be? More importantly, are you who you want to be? As long as we're breathing, we're becoming. By the way, I did teach my grown-up kid to make coffee, but he's never really developed a taste for it. Oh well, even a Unitarian Universalist is not required to drink coffee. Keep growing, keep becoming, and remember, you're not doing it alone. Amen. Blessed be.
Please rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn, number 1051, in the soft cover hymnal. And if you would like to join our church this morning, please come forward and talk to Reverend Ruth during the hymn.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandfather's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises, sings to the universe who we are.
Thank you. Please be seated. We have Sheena Baker, who wishes to join, and we're so pleased to welcome her. Or is it them?
She, her, and them.
She, her, and them. Okay, thank you. Not everybody likes to speak into the microphone, so we're going to spare Sheena that. Thank you. Yeah. And so you will be invited to meet her one-on-one in a little less overwhelming experience later on. So Sheena, is there anything you want me to tell them?
I'm happy to become a part of UUCB.
Happy to become part of UUCB. All right. A wonderful sketch artist. Someone's whispering in my ear. So Sheena is joining today, and then we also have someone who joined previously, but in a sort of rushed experience, Ramsey did not get a proper welcome. So I asked her to stand also today to receive that. And Ramsey, tell me your last name. Ramsey Scott. So, yes, indeed. All right, so Sheena, it is a joy to welcome you as a member of this faith community. I encourage you to grow in your religious life, to explore and share your unique gifts. Will you journey together with us, sharing the joys and responsibilities of membership? Will you share generously with all of us of your time, your talents, and your resources? And if you agree, please say yes.
Yes.
Members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham, will you reach out to these people in friendship, including them in our ministries and our fellowship? Will you be open to their unique gifts and perspectives? Will you extend a warm welcome to them, remembering that each of you was once a new member? Will you join their strengths with yours, talents, and commitment with theirs? Please respond, we will. We will. So, Sheena and Ramsey, now you are a part of us, and we are a part of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And now Kate will continue with announcements.
All right. If you have not filled out your connection card, please do so and give it to our ushers as you make your way out today. I encourage you to read front to back your order of service. There's a lot of updates about events that are happening after church today, as well as things that are coming up. There is, I think, one error in our order of service today, which is our bridging ceremony is actually happening next Sunday, the 11th, instead of the 18th. So if you want to be part of that, if your family has an accomplishment like a graduation or a job change or something that you'd like to have recognized during the bridging ceremony, please reach out to Courtney McKinney. And then we also have some sad news to share. A former friend of our church, Lenny Langford, passed away, and they are having a memorial service for her life. It's Saturday, May 24th at Homewoods Central Park. There'll be food and beverages and drinks and all that stuff provided, but they do need an RSVP if you plan to attend. So there is a flyer that looks just like this on the bulletin board out in the narthex, and it has the information to RSVP to Bruce Lilly. All right. And now I would extinguish our chalice, but it already went out. Imagine it burning. See a blossom in your mind's eye. Greater perfection of form in nature cannot be imagined. Marvel at this creation, while utterly fragile, yet undaunted. Boldly buds forth, turning resolutely toward the sun. We too shimmer with expectation. Vulnerable, still we venture out into our lives courageously, toward hope and light, at once fragile and rooted.